There's a big contrast you need to know about the Three Stooges. Although it is known for its slapstick humor and timeless comedy, brought laughter to millions with their outrageous antics and physical gags, behind the scenes, the lives of Moe Howard, Larry Fine, and Curly Howard were marked by personal struggles and heartache that starkly contrasted with their on-screen personas. From health issues to financial troubles and turbulent relationships, the Stooges face a series of tragic challenges throughout their careers. Let's find out the tragic stories of these funniest clowns. You might not know this, but Moses Horowitz's early life was marked by the challenges of growing up in a large family as the second youngest of 5 brothers. According to his official biography, Moe initially went by the name Harry, a moniker he chose during his younger years. It was a time when he faced significant ridicule for his appearance, particularly his shoulder-length hair, which was the target of relentless teasing from his peers. Determined to escape the constant bullying, Moe took a bold step one day. He chopped off his long locks, resulting in the iconic bowl cut that would become synonymous with his persona as a stooge. This distinctive hairstyle predated the Beatles' own bowl cut by several decades, cementing Moe's look as an enduring symbol of his unique character. Moe's schooling years were fraught with difficulties. After surviving the harsh environment of grade school, he made the decision to leave high school after only 2 months. His heart was not in academics, but in something much more alluring: the world of theater. As a teenager, Moe would spend hours outside the theater in Brooklyn, hoping for someone to buy him a 10-cent ticket. Once inside, he would find a spot at the top of the balcony, chin resting on the railing, completely absorbed in the performances and dreaming of a future on stage. Moe's passion for theater led him to take on various roles in the industry. He began his career hustling in the theaters of Brooklyn, running errands and doing odd jobs. His early experiences included performing in blackface at minstrel shows along the Mississippi River, a practice that was regrettably common at the time among Jewish performers, as noted by the Times of Israel. By 1922, Moe's career began to take shape in a more structured form. He, along with his brother Samuel, known professionally as Shemp, teamed up with Ted Healy. This partnership marked the beginning of a significant chapter in Moe's life. The trio brought their boyhood antics and roughhousing to the vaudeville stage, where they performed as the violent, bumbling stooges to Healy's straight man character. This act would become a defining feature of their performances and set the stage for what would later become the Three Stooges. The fate of Louis Feinberg, later known to millions as Larry Fine, was equally unfortunate. As a young boy, Louis found himself fascinated by his father's jewelry tools, which he would often play with. One day, his curiosity led him to a bottle of acid used to test the authenticity of gold. Mistaking the bottle for a refreshing drink, Louis picked it up and was about to take a sip when his father intervened, slapping the bottle away. The swift action resulted in a severe burn on Louis's forearm, necessitating a skin graft to treat the injury. The traumatic experience of the burn injury had a silver lining. The doctors recommended violin lessons as a therapeutic measure to strengthen Louis's injured arm. To their and his own surprise, Louis took to the violin with remarkable skill and enthusiasm. His aptitude for the instrument was so impressive that he eventually pursued a professional career in music, showcasing his talent on various stages. In addition to his musical endeavors, Larry Fine also explored the world of boxing. Driven by the need for extra income, he became a lightweight boxer, fighting in matches to earn cash. His dual pursuits in music and boxing highlighted his versatility and determination, traits that would later contribute to his success in entertainment. The pivotal moment in Larry Fine's career came in 1925. At that time, he was performing in a musical comedy act in Chicago. It was here that he crossed paths with Ted Healy, a well-known performer who happened to be playing at the same venue. Ted Healy, intrigued by Larry's performance, attended one of his shows and was thoroughly impressed by his act. Recognizing Larry's potential, Healy extended an invitation to him to join his group as one of his stooges. This invitation marked the beginning of a significant partnership. Larry Fine joined Moe Howard and Moe's brother, Shemp, forming a trio that would become one of the most iconic acts in comedy history. The combination of Moe's leadership, Larry's musical talent and comic timing, and Shemp's physical comedy created a unique and enduring dynamic. The friendship and professional relationship between Moe Howard and Larry Fine were pivotal in shaping their careers. Their bond, forged in the early days of their collaboration, lasted for over 50 years. Together, they navigated the challenges of the entertainment industry, creating a legacy that would leave an indelible mark on comedy. Let's continue the tragedies of the Three Stooges with the story of Ted Healy. Healy's onstage persona often involved an aggressive and combative style, where he would verbally and physically assault his stooges as part of his act. This stage behavior was not far from reality. Healy was known to be a mean-spirited drunk, and his alcohol-fueled rages made working with him difficult. His treatment of his performers, including Moe Howard and his brothers Larry Fine and Shemp Howard, became a significant issue. Shemp, in particular, grew weary of Healy's drunken outbursts and abusive behavior, leading him to leave the group and pursue a solo career. The strained relationship between Healy and his stooges culminated when the latter was offered a contract that excluded Healy. This development reportedly drove Healy to a dramatic reaction, with allegations that he threatened to bomb theaters showing the Three Stooges. However, these claims are contested in Healy's biography Nobody's Stooge, leaving the true extent of Healy's reaction ambiguous. Despite this tumultuous period, Healy managed to rebound professionally. In 1936, his film The Hollywood Hotel premiered to great success, signaling a high point in his career. That evening, Healy celebrated at the Trocadero nightclub in Los Angeles, enjoying drinks and revelry. However, this night of celebration would tragically turn dark. Healy's life took a sinister turn when he was found in his hotel room the next morning, severely beaten and ultimately dead. The circumstances surrounding his death remain shrouded in mystery. Albert Cubby Broccoli, a filmmaker with connections to the notorious mobster Lucky Luciano, later admitted to having a confrontation with Healy outside the Trocadero that night. While Broccoli's involvement in a fight with Healy was confirmed, whether this altercation directly led to Healy's death or if he was murdered remains uncertain. This is perhaps one of the notable tragedies of the Three Stooges. When Shemp Howard left the group, Moe Howard and Ted Healy needed to find a replacement quickly to maintain the act's dynamic. Enter Jerome Howard, who was Moe's younger brother and went by the stage name Jerry. Jerome's initial appearance was far from the typical comedic archetype. With his brownish-red hair and a handlebar mustache, he resembled more of a straight-laced character rather than someone who could fit the comedic mold of a stooge. This unconventional look led Healy to doubt his comedic potential, believing that audiences might not find him amusing. Adding to the skepticism, even Moe himself was not particularly impressed. According to Empire, Moe thought Jerry had no talent whatsoever, reflecting a lack of confidence in his brother's ability to perform effectively within the trio. Despite this discouragement, Jerome, driven by determination and a desire to prove himself, took a bold step to change his image. He shaved his head completely bald in front of the group, dramatically altering his appearance. Jerome's new look elicited a humorous comment from him. As he looked at his reflection, he remarked aloud, "Boy, do I look girly," a comment captured by the Argus leader. It was this comment, heard by Healy, that led to the nickname Curly. The name stuck, and Curly Howard began to emerge as a key figure in the act. Curly's new persona, characterized by his playful antics and distinctive comedic style, quickly endeared him to audiences. His signature "nyuk nyuk nyuks" and the frequent use of his catchphrase "soitanly" became hallmarks of his comedic routine. Curly's presence injected a fresh energy into the group, and his lovable, silly demeanor contrasted sharply with the more straight-laced characters of Moe and Larry Fine. Curly Howard's impact on comedy extended beyond his performances. According to the Orlando Sentinel, his physical comedy, particularly his exaggerated shoulder-spinning moves, may have been an early influence on the development of breakdancing. His unique on-stage movements, including the famous backward curly shuffle bounce walk, also bore some resemblance to Michael Jackson's later moonwalk, suggesting that Curly's innovative style left a lasting mark on various aspects of entertainment. However, behind his on-screen persona, Curly struggled with a turbulent personal life marked by reckless behavior, heavy drinking, and a series of troubled relationships with women. These challenges, combined with the physical toll on his performance, contributed to a rapid decline in his health during the mid-1940s. Curly's personal life was fraught with difficulties. He had a penchant for partying hard, often indulging in excessive drinking and falling for women who were not good for him. His romantic relationships were unstable, leading to 4 marriages, each fraught with its own issues. His third marriage, to Marion Buxbaum in 1945, was particularly ill-fated. They married after just 2 weeks of knowing each other, and the relationship quickly unraveled, adding another failed marriage to Curly's troubled personal history. On screen, Curly's health began to visibly deteriorate. By the mid-1940s, it was clear to those around him that something was seriously wrong. He began to struggle with his lines, lost a significant amount of weight, and no longer looked the part of the vibrant comedian he had once been. Moe Howard, Curly's older brother and the leader of the Stooges, recognized the seriousness of Curly's condition and pleaded with Columbia Pictures boss Harry Cohn to give Curly some time off to recover. However, Cohn refused, prioritizing the studio's profits over Curly's well-being. In 1946, while on set, Curly suffered a massive stroke, signaling the end of his career with the Three Stooges. This stroke was a devastating blow, not only to Curly but also to his brothers and colleagues who had watched his decline with increasing concern. After the stroke, Curly finally got the time off he desperately needed, but his health continued to worsen. He made one last on-screen appearance in the 1947 short Hold That Lion, which holds a special place in the Stooges' history as the only film to feature all 3 Howard brothers, Moe, Shemp, and Curly. This brief cameo was a bittersweet moment, as it marked the end of Curly's contributions to the beloved comedy trio. Following his retirement from the Stooges, Curly's health continued to decline as he suffered from additional strokes. Moe Howard, who had always been protective of his younger brother, took on the role of Curly's caretaker. Despite Moe's efforts to nurse him back to health, Curly's condition worsened. On January 18, 1952, Curly Howard passed away at the age of 48, leaving behind a legacy of laughter, but also a tragic story of a man who brought joy to millions while battling his own demons. Jules White, who directed many of the Stooges' shorts, later recalled some of Curly's final words, which poignantly captured the essence of his life and career. "Gee, Jules, I guess I'll never be able to make the children laugh again." These words reflect Curly's deep love for making people laugh, even as his own life was marred by struggles. His untimely death marked the end of an era for the Three Stooges, but his impact on comedy and the joy he brought to audiences around the world continue to resonate to this day. Another notable feature that you need to know, the Three Stooges endured numerous injuries throughout their careers. Given the nature of their acts, characterized by head slaps, pokes, thumps, and other forms of physical comedy, it's remarkable that they managed to perform as effectively as they did without more severe consequences. Moe Howard, the head stooge, documented the frequent injuries in his autobiography, I Stooge to Conquer. According to Moe, the physical toll of their comedy routines was significant. Despite his tough guy persona on screen, Moe revealed that he was hurt more frequently than his fellow Stooges, Larry Fine and Curly Howard, as well as other cast members. On one occasion, Moe even broke 3 ribs during filming, a testament to the high-risk nature of their slapstick antics. The origins of the Three Stooges' trademark physical comedy can be traced back to their early days performing with Ted Healy. A pivotal moment in their comedic style occurred during a 1925 live performance in Brooklyn. At this show, Moe Howard mentioned to Healy that his brother Shemp was in the audience. Seizing the opportunity, Healy invited Shemp onto the stage. Shemp, who was eating a pear at the time, offered it to Healy as a gesture. Healy, however, took the pear and, in an impromptu act of comedic violence, smashed it over Shemp's head. This unscripted act of physical comedy proved to be a hit, leading to its incorporation into their routine and establishing Shemp as a key member of the act. Another iconic element of the Three Stooges comedy, Moe's famous two-fingered eye poke, also has its origins in their early interactions. According to Empire, the routine for the eye poke began during a card game between the Stooges. When Shemp Howard suspected Larry Fine of cheating, he jumped up and poked Larry in both eyes. Moe found this comedic gesture so amusing that he decided to incorporate it into their act. The eye poke became one of their most recognizable and frequently performed gags, contributing significantly to their signature style. And of course, when mentioning the Three Stooges, we cannot ignore this remarkable detail of Harry Cohn, the head of Columbia Pictures during the early years of the Three Stooges' career, who was famous for his autocratic management style and ruthless business practices. According to the Chicago Tribune, Cohn's office was modeled after the office of Italian dictator Benito Mussolini, a reflection of his own dictatorial approach to running the studio. His demeanor and control over Columbia Pictures extended to how he handled the Three Stooges, whom he signed in 1934. Cohn's treatment of the Stooges was emblematic of his tyrannical management. He required the trio to sign new contracts annually, under the pretense that the shorts department, which produced their popular comedic shorts, was on the verge of closure. While it was true that the film industry was shifting away from shorts due to the growing popularity of television and feature films, Columbia's shorts department continued to operate for many years. Cohn's tactic of exploiting this supposed uncertainty was a means to keep the Stooges' salaries low and maintain tight control over their employment conditions. Despite the Stooges' immense popularity and their significant contribution to Columbia's profits, they were paid a maximum of $20,000 per year each, a small fraction of the revenue they helped generate. The studio's financial success was not shared transparently with the Stooges. They had no access to the viewership numbers or financial reports that could have demonstrated the true extent of their popularity. This lack of information kept them in the dark about their true market value and limited their ability to negotiate better terms. Compounding their difficulties was the issue of their manager, Harry Rome. According to Moe's daughter, Joan Hord Maurer, Rome had a cozy relationship with Cohn. This connection between Rome and Cohn meant that the manager was not acting in the best interests of the Stooges. Maurer revealed that her father, Moe Howard, and his colleagues were at a disadvantage due to their lack of financial acumen and confidence. Having grown up in poverty, Moe was hesitant to challenge Cohn or demand better compensation, fearing repercussions and conflict. Moe's reluctance to confront Cohn and push for higher pay was a reflection of his background and personality. The Stooges' fear of disrupting their precarious position with Columbia Pictures led to them accepting terms that were far from favorable. Their lack of confidence and the manipulative practices of their manager and Cohn contributed to their financial exploitation. If you are sophisticated enough, you will realize this. The Three Stooges comedy, rooted in a rich tradition of Jewish humor, draws on Eastern European Yiddish archetypes to create their unique brand of slapstick humor. According to Faye Ringel's essay in Stoogeology, Essays on the Three Stooges, the trio's comedic personas reflect these archetypes. Curly Howard embodies the schlemiel, a figure characterized by clumsiness, foolishness, and childlike behavior. Larry Fine represents the Schlimazel, someone who is less foolish, but consistently finds themselves in unlucky situations. Moe Howard is the persecutor, a role defined by his abusive behavior towards the other Stooges, even though he is just as foolish as they are. This archetypal framework underscores the Stooges' connection to a long-standing tradition of Jewish comedy, which often revolves around self-deprecating humor and the portrayal of certain characters as hapless victims of their circumstances. While the Stooges did not overtly highlight their Jewish heritage in their routines, except for occasional Yiddish phrases, they nonetheless contributed to the broader tapestry of Jewish comedic traditions. The importance of their cultural background becomes especially apparent when examining their wartime comedy. During World War II, the Three Stooges made a notable contribution to political satire with their film You Nasty Spy, released in 1940. In this film, Moe Howard plays Moe Hailstone, a bumbling parody of Adolf Hitler. This film was groundbreaking as it was the first American comedy to mock Hitler, making it a significant entry in the genre of political satire. Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator, which also satirized Hitler, was still in production at the time, making the Stooges film the first of its kind to reach the American audience. The Stooges continued their satirical work with the release of I'll Never Heil Again in 1941. This sequel to You Nasty Spy further cemented their role in American political satire. The films are considered pioneering works in the genre, influencing subsequent political and satirical comedy. By using their comedic talents to critique the Nazis and Adolf Hitler, the Three Stooges used their platform to make a significant cultural and political statement, reflecting their broader contribution to American humor and political commentary. Fans of the Three Stooges will never forget the appearance of Shemp Howard, one of the original Stooges, who was forging a successful career on his own. After a falling out with Ted Healy, Shemp left the trio and found his niche in solo performances, carving out a reputation as a talented comedian with a unique brand of humor. Unlike the slapstick style that defined the Three Stooges, Shemp's comedy was more subdued and subtle, focusing on his distinctive facial expressions, quirky mannerisms, and knack for improvisation. His solo work was well received, and he enjoyed both professional success and personal happiness away from the tumultuous environment that had characterized his early years with Healy. However, the success of the Three Stooges was shadowed by the decline in Curly Howard's health. Curly, beloved by audiences for his zany antics and iconic catchphrases, began to suffer from a series of strokes that ultimately forced him to retire from the act. His absence left a void that was hard to fill, both on and off the screen. As Curly's health deteriorated, Moe Howard, the de facto leader of the Stooges and Shemp's brother, was left with a difficult decision. The trio was at risk of falling apart without Curly's magnetic presence, and Moe knew that the only person who could possibly fill the gap was Shemp. Moe pleaded with Shemp to rejoin the Three Stooges. Despite his reservations, Shemp ultimately agreed, motivated by a sense of duty to his family and a desire to help keep the act alive. But the transition was not without its challenges. Shemp's comedy style was different from Curly's, and this difference posed a potential risk to the group's dynamic and their established fan base. Moe also had to convince Columbia Pictures, the studio that produced the Stooges shorts, to bring Shemp on board. The studio executives were initially hesitant, aware of the stark contrast between Shemp's and Curly's comedic styles. After much negotiation, a deal was reached. Shemp agreed to rejoin the Three Stooges, albeit at a significant personal cost. He had to forego half of his paycheck to secure the role. Despite these sacrifices, Shemp's return to the trio proved to be a success. His distinct brand of comedy brought a new flavor to the Stooges' routines, and while fans missed Curly, many grew to appreciate Shemp's unique contribution to the act. He brought his own flair to the trio, blending his improvisational skills with the slapstick chaos that defined the Stooges' comedy. Shemp's return, however, was tragically short-lived. On November 22, 1955, Shemp Howard's life was cut short in a sudden and heartbreaking manner. That evening, Shemp was on his way home from a boxing match, accompanied by his friend Al Winston. As they rode in a taxi, Shemp, ever the comedian, was in the middle of telling a joke while enjoying a Havana cigar. In the midst of laughter, Shemp suddenly slumped over, falling into Al Winston's lap. He had suffered a massive heart attack and died instantly at the age of 60. Also around this time, an unfortunate event happened to the Three Stooges. Much like the fictional world of Mad Men with its portrayal of cigarette-smoking, misogynistic ad executives facing the changing tides of society, Columbia had to adapt or face extinction. The entertainment landscape was shifting rapidly as television gained prominence, and the demand for shorter, episodic content was waning in favor of longer, more substantial films. Columbia Pictures, which had been a powerhouse in producing short films for decades, was now the last major studio in Hollywood still maintaining a shorts department. But the writing was on the wall. Change was inevitable. In 1957, after 23 years of producing comedy shorts that had become a staple of American entertainment, Columbia Pictures made the decision to close its shorts department. This move was not just a strategic business decision, it was a signal of the end of an era. For the Three Stooges, who had spent nearly a quarter of a century pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into the studio's productions, this decision marked a devastating blow. Despite the fact that their slapstick antics had entertained millions and had become an integral part of Columbia's identity, the studio unceremoniously cut ties with the trio. There were no grand farewells, no tributes to honor their years of hard work, just a cold, impersonal layoff notice. The abruptness of the dismissal was as stinging as any physical slap the Stooges had delivered on screen. After decades of loyalty and success, Moe Howard, the group's leader and driving force, faced the harsh reality of Hollywood's often ruthless nature. For Moe, the betrayal by Columbia was deeply personal. He had always been the one to negotiate contracts, manage the group's affairs, and ensure that the Stooges continued to work, even as the popularity of their brand of comedy waxed and waned. The decision to shut down the shorts department and let the Stooges go felt like a slap in the face, a disregard for everything they had achieved. The final indignity came when Moe returned to the studio to say goodbye to his colleagues. Columbia Pictures, a place that had been a second home for over 2 decades, greeted him not with the respect or gratitude he deserved, but with security guards who blocked him from entering the office. This act of disrespect was a bitter pill for Moe to swallow. The studio that had profited immensely from the Three Stooges films, which had built a significant part of its reputation on the backs of these comedic geniuses, now treated him like an unwanted guest. It was a clear message. The era of the Three Stooges was over, and Columbia had no further use for them. What do you think about the tragedies of the Three Stooges? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.